everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Melissa, but if you are one of my perspicacious subscribers and you've been following along, then you already know that you can call me Missy. Whether you are new here or a veteran viewer, you clicked on this video, which means you already know that I'm here to bring you the tea on a 100-year-old self-help book. Oops. We're just going to act like that didn't happen. We're going to pretend it didn't happen. If I keep my arm right here, we can all pretend that didn't happen. But before I spill the metaphorical tea, the literal tea now being a foregone conclusion, I have some confessions to make. Confession the first. This isn't actually tea. It is, in fact, milk and graham crackers, because that's one of my favorite after-school snacks since I was a kid. It's still one of my favorite afternoon snacks. Confession the second. I have more graham crackers than you see here off screen. I just didn't put them on the plate because it wasn't as aesthetically pleasing. My next confession is that I did just say aesthetically in that way because I wanted to make it sound like I was also saying the word ass. And my final confession is that I have already read this chapter on personality, how to build it. And I am in fact filming this again, probably for the fourth time, because the first time I tried to film it, I had numerous technological issues and just my mind wasn't fully in the video, and I don't think it turned out as well. So hopefully this time around things will go more smoothly, although portents of things to come, I hope not. Let's see. We begin today on chapter 5. If you want to go see the other chapters, I have a whole playlist on my channel of the previous chapters. But if you don't want to go back and watch them, that's fine. This should still be a good time. Chapter 5, mistakes to be avoided. First, too much self-confidence. Second, lack of delicacy. Thirdly, false success. We don't know anything about lack of delicacy here, do we? I think not. If you find within yourself personal endowments of distinction, do not be too vain of them. Do not make the great mistake of having too much confidence in yourself. To do so would be an error, a step toward the ruin of these useful gifts which are your lot by nature. Instead of exaggerating your own worth, underrate it. The sacrifice to your pride will open your eyes unmistakably. Too great a self-confidence is a weakness. It destroys energy, the desire to struggle and to win. As we proceed always by affording an instance, let me tell you the following. Oh, he does like to afford an instance. Unfortunately, it's always quite clear that his stories are fictional, which gives them a little less weight, in my opinion, but let's continue. Two children are about to write the same composition. I feel like the wording here is a little bit off. They're not going to write the same thing, but they're writing upon the same subject matter. Peter is very intellectual, has great fluency and ease. Paul is less brilliant, less apt at either study or comprehension. Peter and Paul have an equal desire to be first. All right, we've got Peter, we've got Paul. What about Mary? If Mary was there, maybe the composition they were writing would be Puff the Magic Dragon. Paul is conscious of his deficiencies, of the difference that separates him from his comrade, yet he studies and strives with sustained and energetic diligence. Peter knows that he is clever. He is conscious of his facility, the gift that makes the great difference between him and his comrade. He relies on his memory and on the minimum of effort he has to make. His mother says, "Peter, my child, do study." Peter shrugs his shoulders with a self-sufficient air and replies, "Bah, an examination with Paul. What does it amount to?" The examination takes place. Peter and Paul write their papers. The result is, Paul is first, Peter second. Okay, so I guess they're grading on a curve. Peter, the clever person, cannot believe it. How did it happen? A voice tells him whisperingly, "Often, one believes that one is much better than one really is." We know the one whispering this was not in fact Dark Kermit. It was probably just Kermit, wise ruler of the Muppets. Thus we see that overconfidence is harmful. First, to the building of one's intimate personality, because in knowing that one has the necessary endowment, one fails to cultivate it and bring it out against one's rival in the test of success. Of course, one is unfair to oneself, but the worst of it is that outsiders think this person will never amount to anything. If one fails in one's own estimation, consider what it means to fail in the opinion of others, especially when you're trying to gain personality, which was described at the beginning of the book as essentially just fame, notoriety. Secondly, another fatal defect of overconfidence is that it prevents one from making the true impression of one's personality on others. For example, this author writing secondly and then another, which is redundant. This being said by the woman who spilled milk on her shirt earlier. Let us say that you have created in yourself a sense really personal. You have great originality and the pride to make it known and influential on whomever you meet. With confidence, you are strong and will succeed. At the same time, in order that this power of confidence may not degenerate into brutality, do not work it to excess. Force impresses itself and wins, but brutality wounds and irritates. In truth, force and brutality are the two revelations of reasonable confidence and exaggerated confidence. Force appears to me in fair fight between two adversaries. Each asserts his strength, his science, his skill. The winner is the better man, and wins prestige, glory, and profit from his victory. The vanquished cannot but admire his opponent and feels a sort of pride at having had the opportunity to measure himself with such a foe. I feel like as their example story, he could have put in a little section about Pokemon trainers. Brutality appears in an unequal battle, force without art and without science. The victor is the more savage, the greater scoundrel, the more crafty. He reaps contemptible profit from his conquest. The vanquished one feels only hate for him and the desire for another fight in which he himself may make use of the same unscrupulous methods. People who perceive the overconfidence in this display have the same thought in their minds. A good setback is a good lesson. No one likes to see an arrogant person. He offends. He is a reckless fool that throws himself singing and unarmed into the fray. Misfortune will be his portion, for at the first assault he is pitilessly crushed. Crushed is spelt with a T, and I think that's really sweet. The man who has too much confidence in himself has generally a narrow and false outlook. He inspires hate and contempt, unconsciously antagonizes everybody. If he blunders, no one will come to his help. Everyone laughs at him and has a little sermon ready which makes him meditate, but a little too late, on his claim to overconfidence. I feel like that's true of overconfidence, but what about just confidence? X, the mountebank, was a strong man. He won the admiration of all who came to his shows. Also, he annoyed them with his insolent airs. X had confidence in himself, too much confidence, really. When asked to do difficult and unexpected turns, he gave a conceited, irritating little smile that rasped everyone. When someone proposed to him that he do this or that, he agreed with the secret thought, very human on account of his conceit. If you would only make yourself ridiculous, I should be satisfied. But notwithstanding all this, the mountebank always came out of his difficulties with skill and art, and always with his cursed, braggart little smile. This honestly just sounds like a description of showmanship. The mountebank is asking his audience to give him something difficult to do, and when he does it, he makes a big show out of being really awesome, which serves to make his performance memorable. Where was the media literacy then? People in 1916, am I right? Will nobody ever be able to teach him a lesson?
What? What? What happened? Get that little...
This was the remark that followed the exclamation of admiration, but preceded the grimace of the mountebank, which said to each observer clearly, "After me, you know. You can hunt forever. I am the only one. I irritate you, but here I am." Literally, me, middle school through high school, constantly. I irritate you, but here I am. At least now you can turn this off when you're bored or annoyed. One Sunday, X was lifting his weights. Having accomplished many feats, he placed himself suddenly in the middle of the stage and, crowing like a rooster in his sparkling tights, launched his jest to the audience. "And now, who can show me anything? Whose turn is it?" Usually there was a murmur in the crowd, but naturally no one ever moved, and for good reason. But that day, a voice spoke out. "I am your man, X. The gloves, old sport. We'll box." A strapping, big, country fellow advanced toward the stage. X, nonplussed, got red in the face and answered, "I do not box." Then an unheard of thing happened. Yeah, unheard of because this is all fiction. The whole audience rose as one man and pushed the big stranger toward X and onto the stage. Everybody shouted, "We'll have some boxing! We'll have some boxing!" X was forced to put on the gloves and put up his hands. Where did they get boxing gloves? Did the stranger bring 2 pairs of boxing gloves with him? And everyone clapped. X was forced to put on the gloves and put up his hands. Although the stranger proceeded with care, X suddenly fell to the ground, stunned by a well-placed blow. On the whole, the occurrence threw a gloom over the assembly. Yeah, the kind of gloom that you get when somebody is unjustly defeated, right? Some of the sensitive regretted having pushed the stranger into fight with one ignorant of the noble art, yet nobody really thought of the inequality of the match or of its absurdity. They were all too pleased to see X thrown down and incapable for once of making his little insolent and quizzing grimace, as if to say, "That puzzles you, does it? But here it is, after me, you know." And when poor X came out of his faint, he had to stand the jokes of the crowd. This was worse than the knockout he had received, which left his body sore. Nevertheless, the lesson was a wholesome one, and he recovered suddenly, so to speak, from his conceit. Again, though, it seems like it was part of the act, and he realized that people didn't realize that it was part of the act and decided that it was a little too dangerous. I don't know. I wasn't there, and neither was H. Laurent. Therefore, do not indulge in overconfidence. To do so is most injurious to yourself. It stands in the way of your aim to originality and gives arms to your enemy, the outside world. The latter, we know, is the most difficult to conquer because it is distrustful, envious, jealous, and holds in its palm the collective power of fame. Very often, overconfidence carried to excess implicates another defect, equally injurious. This, the lack of delicacy. First of all, what is delicacy? Delicacy is the quality formed of the union of tact, adroitness, vision, and kindliness. To lack delicacy is to be wanting in all these qualities, which are so useful to pleasant intercourse with others. Yeah, it is. Tact is the fruit of intellectual judgment, a sort of faculty of the senses. In the material sense of the word, tact means to touch. In the moral sense, tact means the art of knowing how to touch the soul gently, the art of getting to it without brutality, delicately, with care and precaution. Is it just me, or does that feel a little spicy? Maybe just me? Yeah, probably. Just me. Vision is the power of divination. It is wise, shrewd, subtle. Delicacy always includes a certain kindness, regard for the sensibilities of others, respect for their opinions, charity for their errors. Perhaps it is from this very kindness that flow all the other qualities which make up delicacy. One cannot imagine a person of delicacy deprived of kindness, even if a kind person does not have delicacy, which, by the way, is rare, as the most silly person who is kind finds in this quality infinite resources which give him a sort of education, intelligence, and native sensibility. Lack of delicacy impedes the assertion of personality. The reason is always the same. Humanity is a formidable monster to be controlled in order to prevent it from being a terrible enemy. One might as well play with dynamite as to play with human nature. He seems to take a very pessimistic view of human nature. Are humans fundamentally good or fundamentally bad? Let me know what your personal philosophy is in the comments below. And if you please, use the universal language of emojis, perhaps a little devil emoji or a little angel emoji. These are the kinds of profound conversations you can expect from my channel, as she drinks from an almost empty cup of milk. Those who lack delicacy do not know how to treat this terrible enemy. They go ahead stubbornly and blindly, always with the same result. As long as things go easily, as long as they are strong, all is well. But at the least false move, the enemy, full of rancor, falls upon them and beats them. If the man without delicacy is not strong and powerful, the way is blocked for him by all the reproaches he brings upon himself, all the annoyance he has incurred. His talents, his endowment avail him nothing. He cannot make them welcome. The struggle is bitter, and what is more, to assert himself, he must change his character and acquire those qualities which he lacks to overcome the mass. There is a true and popular saying which reads, "More flies are caught with honey than vinegar." Now, I have a little anecdote for you, and this is a real true story that actually happened. Last year, I ran an impromptu science experiment in my kitchen because I was overrun with fruit flies. And in fact, you catch more flies with vinegar than with honey, but you also catch more flies with beer than either of the two. Those little guys, they like to party. Indelicacy is the vinegar. Delicacy is the honey. Delicacy attracts and charms, makes people both pleased and satisfied, as does beer, I suppose.
Your father wanted you to have this when you were old enough.
Humanity is drawn towards those who have proven a source of physical and moral health. It has little else but suffering, and absence of this suffering attracts.
It is pointless to resist, my son.
As in summer, one is attracted to new places, to the rivers and forests. In winter, to the sheltered cities where there is comfort. So men who are tired out, unhappy, wounded, are attracted to him who avoids hurting them, who knows how to pity them and not awaken any pain, who can soothe their wounds quickly and with kindness. Such is the man of delicacy. He holds for society the attraction of satisfaction and relief. All things are possible to him because he understands how to assert himself skillfully through his consideration of others. Delicacy is the hidden trap which the individual sets for humanity in order to make of it a devoted servant. The man who gets there, or the arraviste, as he is termed in French, has only one thought: attain the end. No faith, no law is his unique device. No useless friendship, no word, no move unless it leads to the end.
No mystical energy field controls my destiny.
For the one who can be useful to him, the arraviste rebounds with all ability and quality. To the one who is of no use to him, he is himself, that is to say, cynical, brutal, without heart, without soul. Little by little, the crowd of useless ones grows. To the one who is of no use to him, he is himself. That is to say, cynical, brutal, without heart, without soul. Ouch. That burns. Little by little, the crowd of useless ones grows about him, masses itself, and becomes at length a formidable enemy that he has made for himself, whose terrifying voice is sometimes so powerful as to be in itself enough to assure the failure of the Araviste. Just like that scene in World War Z. I've never actually seen that movie, but it was in the commercials. Commercials? Ads? Previews. The Araviste is the courtier of success and the tyrant of sincerity. But sincerity sometimes takes her revenge. She unmasks the tyrant, abandons the courtier, kills his reputation, deprives him of his prestige, and makes of him a simple adventurer on whom offended success turns its back. Success is power, but if it comes in false guise, it makes an enemy of all men. So we have arrived at the third mistake to be avoided, false success, and the story accompanying it. Mr. T is a businessman.
Today, you become a man of business.
When you knew him a few years ago, he was a simple little employee just like you. He was a good fellow, at least you thought so. You were told, however, but there are so many standers about that you did not pay much attention to rumor. Somebody told you that T was friendly with you because you were a generous friend and an accommodating one, and that being poor, he found it to his advantage. Now, however, T is in a good position. Why? Again, somebody tells you that he got it through intrigue and flattery into the good graces of a very rich old miser. You were told that after the death of this rich old miser, T married his daughter. This surprises you somewhat because T has already presented you to his fiancée, whom he had known since childhood. She was young, pretty, and very poor. Pretty much the opposite of the woman he married. Chance puts you in the way of your old friend one Sunday. T is driving in a superb motor car, perhaps a Model T. I'm a dork. Seated next to a woman, stooped of shoulder and plain, his wife. Decidedly, you find no resemblance to his former fiancée. T chats with you, asks how you are getting on, invites you to come to his house within a few days to a friendly dinner party. You arrive at T's house and meet distinguished company, which is rather mixed, perhaps. You are really astonished at T's affluence, at his fine manners, at his friendliness to all these people. If you think he's a good guy, why are you astonished at his friendliness to all these people? Like, shouldn't he just be friendly to everyone? Unless he means specifically his friendship with all of these people, which then would make some sense because sounds like T is a little bitch. In a small anteroom, you overhear the following conversation, which makes you take T for a marvel. Prince X. I say, T, lend me $25. I'm broke. T. Why, of course, old chap. Here's your money. You know my purse is always open to my friends. T comes to you and says, At last I've found you. I have so many friends that I couldn't get to you before now. You inquire about the lady of the house, who does not appear at the table. T answers quickly, and his sudden brusqueness impresses you. My wife is not well. She has a slight headache. He smiles in a winning way as he adds, It is a feminine weakness that is not very dangerous. Women and their headaches, am I right? You are entirely reassured and serenely enjoy the pleasant evening. A good dinner, fine wines, excellent cigars, cheerful atmosphere, music, and friendship. T sits beside you in a chat. Are you still in the department? He asks. Is Z still there? Have you as great a confidence in department secrets as in my time? You answer, but with reserve. More and more, the care of secret documents has become your duty. T takes great interest in your post and becomes excited about it. He is an excellent friend all the same, although everybody calumniates him, poor fellow. You have seen T often since then. You go regularly to his friendly little parties. Mrs. T is never present, but what difference does that make? Am I right? She's just a woman with her feminine headaches. Oh, he keeps her locked in an attic. I read Jane Eyre. Women love that sort of thing. You do not know her and think each man can best manage his own affairs. On the other hand, T showers attention on you. You have either trips in the automobile, wonderful dinners, wonderful parties, or visits without ceremony. You are proud and overwhelmed, really. T comes to your office in the department and amuses himself like a boy rummaging about. You laugh at him heartily. You know what this sounds like? 3 days ago, T came and drove you to the department in the morning. He took you out to a hearty luncheon with him, then drove you back. Since then, you have not seen him. Last night, you were much worried. An important document was missing. You looked for it in vain. Where can it be? Grave events would supervene if this document should be lost. Peril lies in the fact that anyone should find it and use it. What can be done? You go to T. He has such good connections and is such a good friend of yours. Usually at T's house, you are not announced. You call as one of the family. This morning, the servant inquires, "Whom shall I say?" You state your name and position in rather a high tone of voice. This rascal is simply a stupid footman. With a chilly smile, you wait. T will come from his room and sharply reprimand the servant who treats you as a stranger. But T does not appear. Are any of us in doubt at this point as to what happened? Like, T stole the documents. It's so obvious T stole the documents. In this case, we already know the T. Oh, we know. But T does not appear. The servant comes back to tell you, "Monsieur has gone out." Gone out? Why, he never gets up before 11 o'clock. What luck. You could swear, as you cross the courtyard, that you descry the silhouette of T behind the window curtains. But are you ungrateful, or has misfortune turned your head that you imagine T would not receive you if he were at home? And yet, why not?
After all, why not?
You return later to T's house. You are informed he has left the city. You do not see T for 3 months. Meanwhile, you have lost your position. The grave events following your headlessness have put you in prison for a time. Your great friend, away on a long journey, has no doubt given no sign of life.
I have no doubt. No doubt.
One Sunday, just as in the past, you meet T. As before, he is in a fine motor car. With him is a lady whom you recognize as the wife of a government official. You bow to T. But T, who is driving very fast, must not have seen you. He almost runs over you as he suddenly puts on more speed. Some months pass. One morning, on opening the daily paper, you read that T has been appointed a minister of the government. You send him your congratulations, but receive no answer. That, however, is pardonable. A government official is a very busy man. You go to call on him. At his house, you immediately receive audience. Can this really be T? This cold, reserved man who meets you with an air both tired and hurried, almost impolite. "My friend, I have lost my position," you say. "It happened directly after your last visit to my office. The matter was hushed up, but I had to get out." T answers, "Ah, is that so?" It is as if he did not know you. Nevertheless, all things considered, he ought to help you. The visit comes to an end. Your friend rises first. "Excuse me," he says, "I'm worked to death." He rings. "Show the gentleman out." For the first time, you suddenly hate this man, this bad friend whose good fortune has made him so hard, so indifferent, so insensible to your misfortunes. You feel now that you are one of the crowd who formerly said of him, "He is a trickster. He is no good except for his own interest." At the same time, you wonder why he was so agreeable to you formerly before your ill fortune. Perhaps T is ashamed of being seen with you. He undoubtedly knows what had happened. He believes you guilty. Truly, you are most unfortunate. But at least the attitude of T is partly explained. Well, things are as they are. You have to dispense with the good connection and resign yourself to your unhappy lot. T continues to rise, you to go down. T has enemies, as have all those in power. At last, they attack him. Who attack him? The prince to whom in your hearing T lent money, another whose doctor's bills he paid, a third who lived with him, being too poor to have a home. What is more, T is divorced from his invalid wife. The plain woman demands a separation from this young and handsome husband, so vigorous and amiable. Unconsciously, you become one of his horde of rebels. Someone knocks at your door. Who is it? Mrs. T, the invalid, the plain woman. She is there and pitifully gentle. My poor man, what trouble I have had to find you, she says, but at last I am here. How poor you are. You tell her of your misfortune. Slowly she shakes her head. Yes, yes, I know. You too are one of his victims. Then, rapidly and in tears, she tells you the story of her life with T. He knew the way to win the confidence of her old uncle, who was miserly and sick. He knew the way to win the confidence of the hapless orphan, make her his wife because she was the only heir to an immense fortune. The first months of married life were happy days for the poor invalid. T was loving and kind. He anticipated her slightest wish so often and so appropriately that before her notary, the wife signed a deed which transferred to T, her tender husband, the entire principal of the fortune. The fortune, once his, the man changed completely. The invalid found herself shut away at the farthest end of the house, far from the dinners and gay parties that were being given with her money. Rich and free, a man of affairs, T wished to be richer still and powerful, to become somebody of importance. He intrigued to that end. There was Prince X, whom he entertained at great expense. He was a spy, a go-between at a foreign court, a source of great profit to T. There was another who lived with him, a thief, a purveyor of decorations that were sold at a high price to those keen to have them. There was a third whose doctor and nursing bills were so generously paid. He was a secret agent, a scandal-monger, from whom one could get money and position. All these good friends T kept round him because they rendered him mysterious services. The woman whom you saw driving with him was the wife of a government official who helped to raise my husband to the ministry in return for bills paid by T to her dressmaker. Oh, those silly women and their excessive dressmaker bills. You hear all this dumbfounded. A monstrous truth comes to light in your brain. At the same time, you thrust it from you. It is too horrible. But Mrs. T continues impartially, implacably. And you, my poor man, do you realize what you served for? Do you know why you were shown such courtesy? You were in the government service. You were the guardian of important documents. Do you understand? When the document was lost, it was in the hands of T. It was he who ruined you in order to continue on his way. As long as he needed you, he was perfect. Later, he threw you over as an encumbrance, useless, perhaps dangerous. And what do you call T? An intriguer, an adventurer, a dishonest man? Not at all. He is an arriviste, an arriver, the man who succeeds by hook or by crook. He is an arriver in the whole meaning of the word, one who gets rid of everything that stands in his way. He is a man without heart, sensibility, or kindness, in the depths of whose soul there is one desire only, one aim, to arrive. And that's why he can't keep a woman. One day, T made a false move. The slip brought to light his vulnerable side. From that moment, he was no longer the formidable man before whom all had to bow, whether they wanted to or not. He became a man like all others, with their weaknesses. By reason of these weaknesses, he was undone. Once overthrown, all his victims, all his accomplices, all those whom he had made suffer or who were envious of him, flung themselves upon him and destroyed him. They leveled accusations against him in such a manner as to complete his downfall, accomplish his ruin, and cause his death. I mean, it seems a bit dramatic. cause his death? Nobody came forward to help him. All turned aside with indifference. And this is the story of an arriver. Sooner or later, he falls from his pedestal and is broken and remains broken. He is a brilliant, powerful personality, but how ephemeral. The arriver may be compared to a giant fortress which is built on a volcano. Of what importance is its triple walls, its ammunition, its drawbridges, its guards? The danger, the peril does not come from without. It lies in its own bosom. I'm just imagining this guy writing that and being like, yeah, that analogy, fire, literally, because of the volcano. Certainly, success is of great help in the creation and assertion of personality. But success of any worth, the truest secret talisman, we shall see a little further in this book. So subscribe, stay tuned if you want to know the true secret talisman. But false success, as it appears generally, is a serious error against one's personal good and a war declared against other people. The others are always the victors, and you, the disgraced. That's it. That's chapter 5. Chapter 6 is exaggerated errors, finickiness, false delicacy, lack of self-confidence, lack of balance in one's qualities. That is it for Personality, How to Build It, Chapter 5. Thank you so much for watching to the end of this video. If you liked anything about that video, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you would like to contribute to the conversation, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Is humanity mostly good? Is it mostly evil? Leave an emoji indicating which you think, or leave a comment that you thought about yourself. Either way, it helps me with the algorithm. And if you would like to know what happens next in this series, go ahead and subscribe so that we can spill the tea in the next episode. Bye!